Welcome back to Night City Crafts. Today we're building a terrain feature unlike anything else. A massive stone ripped from the ground during the Trenton upheaval. Flash geysers boiled the city streets, and in the chaos, a mutated bear, 4 stories at the shoulder, was flattened under its weight. What remains now is a frozen moment in time. Minerals and heat turning devastation into a jagged monument. In order to get the scale right, I'm measuring one of the minis I've made for my skirmish game Weapons of Mass Dysfunction and its companion RPG Exclusion Zone. For this terrain feature, I had a few goals. First, I needed a centerpiece with a playable top. Something this massive should feel like it dominates the table. And at over 4 inches tall, it kind of does. Next, it had to tell its own story. Over the past year, I stepped back to do some introspection. I realized that this channel needs to mean something to me before it can mean anything to anyone else. Chasing an audience was only going to burn me out, exacerbate my mental health issues, and inflate the imposter syndrome I felt whenever I released a video. Simply put, I wasn't happy with the direction I was headed in. And finally, this feature had to be easy and cheap to replicate. I'm currently experimenting with 3D scanning, but the final shape is so detailed that the scanner struggles to capture it. The materials here are pretty simple and easy to find. Home Depot, Target, the dollar store were all places I went to. The total should be at or under 30 bucks. I'm using unsanded grout, decorative sand from the dollar store, Mod Podge, a plastic rat, again from the dollar store, and plaster of Paris. The main structure is made from XPS insulation, but I recommend getting the pink stuff if you can. As much as I enjoy working with the XPS, it's a nightmare to clean up. With the main build done, as you can see, it's mostly carving and chipping away foam until you get a shape you like. After the 10-minute war of 2073, much of the world lay in ruins. Cities were leveled, radiation scarred the landscape, and only pockets of life clung to existence. In the northern Appalachians, black bears faced pressures unlike any before. Radiation, scarcity, and the parasitic jackerflies evolved from the Typhia wasp forced these creatures to adapt rapidly. Dense muscles, thicker hides, and sharper senses became necessary for survival, as the insects targeted their spines to feed larvae or command as hosts, piloting their prey like living vehicles and proxy chassis. In 2109, human intervention changed the game again. Teams directed by the Australian Prime Minister Philip MacDonald deployed scabbing worldwide, a mixture of algae, fungus, and nanomachines, all intended to rehabilitate irradiated areas. Some of these nanomachines, however, became corrupted by the very radiation they were designed to clean. These rogue programs enhanced the bear's DNA beyond natural limits. Skeletons and cartilage that were reinforced, bony plates that sprouted along their backs, and size skyrocketed to nearly 20 feet at the shoulder. These apex predators were no longer ordinary bears. They had become the plate maw. On a chilly day in August 2130, a plate maw wandered into the ruined streets of Trenton, drawn either by instinct or prey. The city was a jagged landscape of broken streets and mineralized buildings scarred by decades of radiation and neglect. Croppings of brown-red scabbing colonies rested in dense pockets throughout the ruins. Then, without warning, the ground erupted. Flash geysers, pockets of superheated, mineral-rich water trapped beneath the city, exploded violently. One colossal surge tore a massive stone from the earth, launching it with unstoppable force. Fissure after fissure opened up across the 8-square-mile radius, raising temperatures high enough to nearly melt sand into glass. The plate maw, unfortunately, was caught in its path. The creature was slammed against the side of the jagged monolith, its massive body pinned in place, its enormous head resting on the oddly flat surface at the top. The eruption froze the scene in an instant. Scalding minerals coated the body, stripping flesh and preserving skeleton like a grotesque monument. Predator and city alike were immobilized in a single, devastating moment of time. Around the stone, the city seemed to hold its breath. Streets turned to crystal, buildings faded to dust, and the echo of the eruption faded into silence. The plate maw, once a living apex predator, now stood eternally as the monument. In the Trenton cluster, the colossal stone and mineralized remains of the plate maw became a frozen testament to catastrophe, mutation, and the strange intersections of life and legend. Thanks for watching till the end, and a massive thanks to my Patreon supporters for making this all possible. Your legends. I'll see you next time.